Fidji Simo, Instacart's CEO since August 2021, said last week that she will move to OpenAI later this year to run its consumer products division. Her departure comes after transforming Instacart from a pandemic-boosted delivery service into a retail technology powerhouse with a profitable advertising business. In this episode, I'm going to read to you a story that I wrote for Forbes on May the 8th about Fidji Simo. I find her so inspirational. What she has done at Instacart is nothing short of incredible. And I think it also tells us a little bit about what the future looks like at OpenAI as well, given Fidji's experience at Instacart and her interests. I think we can do a little bit of future casting by looking at her career. So let's jump in. Good morning and welcome to the Retail Media Breakfast Club. I'm your host, Kiri Masters, and every weekday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I bring you candid and real discussions in the world of retail media and marketplaces in just 10 minutes. So bring your own cup of coffee and we'll get smarter about retail media together. First thing I want to share is that when Fidji Simo first accepted the Instacart CEO role, she could have been stepping into what management researchers call a glass cliff. This is where women are appointed to leadership positions during periods of crisis, increasing their risk of failure. At the time, Instacart's pandemic hypergrowth had stalled. Valuations were collapsing, and competition with Amazon, Walmart, DoorDash, and Uber was intensifying. But she managed to steer the company back to growth instead of the slide that many analysts expected. OpenAI is likely betting that her retail media experience will translate into new revenue-generating consumer tools. She will be the CEO of applications at OpenAI. She will continue reporting into Sam Altman, but applications is one of the 3 operational pillars at OpenAI, the other 2 being research and compute. So Simo becomes the day-to-day steward of every customer-facing product, including ChatGPT and DALL-E and the GPT store. Let's rewind a little bit about how Fidji Simo scaled Instacart's ad business specifically. And this is obviously of personal interest to me and to you, but it is one of her most notable contributions at Instacart, taking the nascent advertising business into a retail media powerhouse. Instacart had rolled out its self-serve advertising platform before Fidji Simo came on board around May 2020, and the platform was still in its early stages. But under Simo's leadership, what began as a basic advertising offering evolved into a sophisticated retail media network, generating nearly $1 billion in annual revenue in 2024. Not too shabby. Back in 2022, Fidji Simo unveiled Carrot Ads, one of the 4 modules of the new Instacart platform. And Carrot Ads is essentially a retail media network module that lets retailers graft Instacart's entire retail media stack onto their own digital storefronts. So think of it kind of like a competitor to Criteo or Citrus Ad, where a retailer is installing that technology and using it to stand up their own RMN. Carrot Ads has appealed to some mid-sized grocers in particular. I interviewed April Lane, the Chief Merchandising Officer of Thrive Market, a few months ago, and she told me that the company chose Carrot Ads after testing multiple platforms because it balanced ad density with a cleaner UX for our members. To support Carrot Ads, Simo introduced Carrot Insights, which were dashboards that merged in-app ad data with store-level sales and inventory, giving CPG brands a single return on ad spend view and providing grocers evidence that they weren't cannibalizing their brick and mortar lanes. And as an aside, I didn't put this in the article, but I wrote a book back in 2020 called Instacart for CMOs. And this was the big paradox at the time, it was a real frenemy situation that Instacart had, trying to balance the needs of a four-sided marketplace. They have their retail partners, consumers, shoppers, who are the people going into the store and picking the items, and then advertisers, who are often, they're the brands. And it's difficult with a four-sided marketplace to make everybody happy. And there was some strained relationships between Instacart and retailers who felt like they were starting to lose connection with the consumers, maybe being disintermediated a little bit. And what has been incredible to watch from my perspective is how Fidji Simo shepherded that company to a place where retailers have accepted Instacart as part of the landscape, and retailers are using a lot of Instacart's technology, whether that is the Carrot Ads RMN platform, Carrot Insights, the Caper carts that I'm going to talk about in a second. But that's been the big takeaway for me, is just how well she managed the competing interests of all those four different stakeholders, and in particular, getting the retailers on their side and proving that they were more friend than enemy. The revenue brought in from retail media surpassed $1 billion on a run rate basis in Q4 2024, with the platform being used by more than 220 retailer banners and 7,000 CPG brands. While retail media formed a cornerstone of Simo's strategy, her broader vision included connecting digital and physical shopping experiences through technology. In January of last year, we saw the introduction of personalized advertisements inside Caper smart carts, bringing Instacart's targeting capabilities directly into the physical store aisles and giving brands a consistent campaign canvas from phone to cart screen. Now let's talk about AI innovation in grocery, and probably why she got picked for this top job at OpenAI. In her final months at Instacart, Simo laid groundwork that could inform her approach at OpenAI, particularly in applying generative AI to shopping experiences. In March of this year, Simo unveiled Smart Shop, a generative AI layer that analyzes 17 million SKUs and billions of past purchases to serve real-time diet tags and dynamic shopping prompts, establishing a foundation for health-centric, AI-driven merchandising. This capability could potentially transfer directly to OpenAI applications. And here's the fun part. What could Fidji Simo bring to OpenAI? And this is just spitballing, but here are some things that I personally think she's likely to do in her new role. Number one is bringing that retail media expertise. With her advertising chops, Fidji Simo could develop a privacy-sensitive AI media network featuring sponsored answers, shoppable chat, and contextual commerce inside GPTs with brand-safe controls. This would mirror her Carrot Ads strategy of expanding monetizable services beyond traditional confines. So of course, OpenAI leaked recently a partnership with Shopify, which would allow in-conversation commerce to happen within ChatGPT. But we haven't yet seen within ChatGPT what advertising could look like. So I think she's definitely going to make that first order of priority. Another thing she could bring is physical digital integration. Her experience with Caper smart carts and connected stores could inform how OpenAI integrates vision models into physical world devices. Consider something like voice AI kiosks to augmented reality shelf advice and cashierless checkout systems. And finally, operational discipline. In her statement about joining OpenAI, Simo highlighted the transformative potential of the role. She said, "Joining OpenAI at this critical moment is an incredible privilege and responsibility. This organization has the potential of accelerating human potential at a pace never seen before, and I am deeply committed to shaping these applications toward the public good." With retail media networks now proliferating across the industry, Simo's experience building a differentiated offering at Instacart could help OpenAI establish unique value propositions in what is becoming an increasingly crowded space. Her understanding of both retail economics and cutting-edge technology positions her uniquely to bridge those worlds at OpenAI.